sale time.
So I went to, it was the 60th annual Planned Parenthood book sale. And according to their website, they had 800 tables with over 200,000 items. So I took away 10 items, all for $26. I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm just gonna kind of go through what I got, what I paid for it, and kind of like why I picked it up. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want more book videos. So I didn't really have anything in particular that I was looking for. I was just kind of looking for things that would like jump out to me, things that I either have been like wanting to read or like things I thought would be a good addition to like a bookshelf. So there was a lot to rifle through, and I spent about an hour and a half kind of browsing, and I am really excited with the things that I got. So the first thing that I got was Mythology by Edith Hamilton. So this was only $2. So there was a mythology section, and I saw it and I went to it immediately because I was really excited. So after reading The Song of Achilles and Circe, I have been really interested in mythology. I love those books, especially Song of Achilles. It's probably my favorite book now. So I saw this, and it's just kind of like her, not really retelling, but her just kind of telling the stories of different characters in mythology. So I thought it'd be a good way for me to kind of learn more about it, especially after reading Circe and Song of Achilles. I kind of realized I don't know very much about mythology. I've never really been super interested in it, but especially after reading those, I'm super excited to read this. So I got this one, and then I also saw there were these two, so the Iliad and the Odyssey. So they were like matching, and then this one was also by it. This one is the Five Great Dialogues by Plato. So they were matching, and I thought they looked great. I thought they would look really good on a shelf. So these ones were $2.50 a piece, and they're actually, I looked these up after I got home. They're called the Classics Club, and there was like 77 of these that looked like this that were published, which is pretty cool. And this was actually printed in the 40s. So this one was printed in 1942. That one is the Iliad one. And then the Plato one was in 1942 as well. And then the Odyssey was in 1944. So I thought that was pretty cool. And they're in really good condition for being 1940s books. So I thought they would just look super awesome sitting on a shelf. And now, because I like to go to estate sales and just kind of secondhand stores looking for books. And now I kind of have more of something to look for to kind of keep on with this collection. Okay, so the next book that I got, I was standing in line ready to check out. And the line was probably like 30 minutes of this was probably spent standing in the line because it was so long to check out. And there were like put-back bins like next to the line. So I was looking through the put-back bins, like seeing like what people had like gotten rid of. And I saw this book, Beautiful Disaster. And I saw it and I was like, okay, I felt like it was a sign. I felt like I had to get it. It was only $3. This book came out like 10 years ago, and I remember, it's so weird. I vividly remember reading this, and it's a book that I feel like it was one of the first kind of like romance books that I read like back when I first started getting into reading. So I saw it in the bin and I was like, I remember you need to come home with me. And I actually read this book. So I read it like 10 years ago, and then I actually read it last year because I remembered it and I was like, oh yeah. And I read it, and it just kind of like brought back all of the memories from like 10 years ago of like first discovering it. And so I was like, I have to have this for my shelf. So yeah, I got this because it was reminiscent for me. Okay, so the next book that I saw was The Rum Diary by Hunter S. Thompson. And this one was only $1, and I actually liked how it looks. I like how tall it is, and I liked the cover art and that it's in really good condition too. So last year I read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and by Hunter S. Thompson. And it was a trip. It was short, just like this, but it was also a lot happened, and it was kind of all over the place. It's kind of different than the things that I normally read, but it was very interesting. And so I saw this and I was like, well, might as well give another one of his books a shot. And so we're gonna see how this one is. Okay, so next I found Scarlet. This is the sequel to Gone with the Wind. It's not written by Margaret Mitchell. It's actually written by Alexandra Ripley. So this came out, I think it was in the 90s. This was $2, by the way. But it came out, it was written in 1991. And I thought this was interesting. So I read Gone with the Wind at the beginning of this year. It's fantastic. It's so good. I didn't really know that there was a sequel. So like if you search Gone with the Wind on like Amazon, this book also pops up. I didn't really think much of it. I didn't really have an interest in reading this sequel. I am not a huge fan of how With Gone with the Wind ended. It did not have like a happily ever after, which I like and I dislike, I guess. Like, I think that it's kind of ballsy to end with a not happily ever after because so many books do. At the same time, I wanted it to be a happily ever after, but I enjoyed the fact that it wasn't. So it's a tough one for me. So seeing that there's a sequel, I don't know if I'm going to like the way that this different author kind of went with the story. So I'm kind of curious to see if I enjoy this or if I wish that I wouldn't have read it. And I was interested by this. So on the back it says that Alexandria Ripley was the writer chosen by the Margaret Mitchell estate to write this sequel. So I thought that was kind of cool as she was chosen to write this. So I'm hoping that she did a good job, but we'll see. But I really, really hope so because Gone with the Wind it was just, I don't even know how to describe it. It was so full. It was a very long book. A lot happened. The dialogue and Scarlett's like inner dialogue was so different than anything I've really like read before, especially from something from the 30s. So I'm very, very curious to see if the writing for this one is similar, like if she is able to capture what Margaret Mitchell did, or if it's not going to be like Margaret Mitchell's Gone with the Wind. So I'm very, very curious about this one. So next, I was perusing the classics section, and I found this big boy, which is the Jane Austen complete novels, and it's huge, and I was actually really excited because I was like, wow, this is it. I don't have to have all of these different books on my shelf. I can just have this big one just sitting there. And it's big, and I'm kind of excited about it. So it has in here, we have Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Northanger Abbey, Persuasion, and Lady Susan. I've only read a few of those in the list. I've been meaning to get through all of them. So I'm hoping that by having the physical copy, I can kind of just like slowly work through them, and it'll be on my shelf and I'll be reminded that I want to read them. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this one, and here's to reading some classics. Okay, so for the next two, it's kind of the same, goes along the same lines of the Jane Austen one, where I have wanted to read through these very large books, but I don't want to keep renting them from the library because I know I'm not going to be able to get through them in the time the library allots because they're big. And I feel like if I have them sitting on my shelf, I can keep a bookmark in them and I can read like maybe a chapter a day, or like a little bit of a chapter, a little bit of the book a day, or every few days or every few weeks. And slowly I will get through them. I've been wanting to get through them. So we have Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I rented this, I think it was either at the beginning of this year or last year, from the library. And and this one was $5, and I don't know if this one was $4.50 for this one. Anyway, so this one was $5, and it's a big book. But so I rented this from the library whenever, and I probably only got to like page 30 before I had to return it, because it's so dense and there's just so much, and I've been wanting to read through it, but I have to return it, and then and I feel like if it's on audio, or if it's on my Kindle, then it'll get to the bottom of my library list, and I won't see it and I won't remember it. So it's sitting on my shelf, and it having a bookmark in my mind, I will work my way through this book. This, how many pages are you? This over 1,000 page book. I really want to work through it. So that's my way of forcing myself to. And then that kind of also goes with, Don Quixote, I think is how you say it. And this one was $3.50. Also a big honker. This is another one. It was published in like the 1600s, and it's considered one of the greatest novels ever. It's been on my to be read list for years, but I've never actually attempted this one. But kind of the same with Infinite Jest. I figure if it's sitting on my shelf and I can just kind of open it whenever I want, and I can kind of just read a little bit here and there. Eventually I will get through it. I will. I'm going to force myself to. But this one is kind of cool because it has, this is an old Barnes and Noble's book. They have the classics or whatever that they have in the pretty covers and everything. So this one was from a while ago. I think this is from the 90s. This is from 1995. But it has really great illustrations in it. And so that kind of caught my eye too, where I was like, hi, getting comfy. But that kind of caught my eye too, where I was like, oh, maybe the cool illustrations will keep me going. And it sounds really interesting. And like I said, I've been wanting to read it. The same with Count of Monte Cristo. I've been wanting to read that one too. So I've been on the lookout for a copy of that as well. I kind of like to, instead of just going to the bookstore and just buying it, I like to find them in the wild. I like to buy books secondhand. So I've been waiting to find a good copy of that one out in the wild that I can get. But yeah, so I am excited to start reading this and hopefully get through it within the next, over the next year or so. We'll see. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited. I got 10 books for $26. I thought that was a great price because a lot of books are $26 for one. So I have a nice stack, and I'm super excited. Really excited to go to the sale next year. Like I said, I love going to secondhand sales and estate sales and secondhand stores and everything, finding books. It's my favorite thing. So yeah, I'm really excited. So thanks for watching today's book haul video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.